there's never a dull day at Ibrox. That was certainly the case yesterday. I suppose the big question is, has Christmas come early for the Rangers support with the removals of Kevin Thelwell and Patrick Stewart?
I think that's definitely a start, Scott. The feeling amongst the Rangers support, I think, is almost completely universal that Thelwell could not have been given another transfer window. I think both of them needed removed, but I think Thelwell was the most important one. I mean, the summer business has just been so bad. I mean, I wrote a piece yesterday where I rated our summer signings out of 10, and I mean, they barely get 10 between them. To be honest, it's been so bad, and it was kind of laid bare on Saturday. I know we get the 3 points, but let's be honest here, we laboured to it. Yeah. The squad just looks so poor. It looks every inch a mid-table SPFL squad. Yeah. And I think he just had to, after such a disastrous summer, we cannot afford to have another, bad one in January. I think this image of him that a lot of Rangers fans have got is some sort of kind of Machiavellian Svengali who's been kind of surrounding himself with these kind of acolytes and is picking the team above the manager. I think that's pretty wide of the mark from what I can kind of gather from people who actually know him. Quite the opposite in case some people who know him say he's actually a really nice guy, but which kind of opens the possibility that maybe he was just really bad at his job, and I think he was really bad at his job, and I think the proof is in the pudding. The guys he signed have just been so ordinary. Championship or league at English level. Guys like Asgard have come in and just seems to float about the pitch doing nothing. The loan signings haven't really improved the team. When you bring a loan guy in, if you're going to bring a loan player in, it needs to be someone that's going to improve your first 11. Yeah. I know Mikey Moore's a development loan. I can't really go these development loans, although Mikey Moore's played quite well in recent weeks. He's injured, of course, as always happens when Rangers get a player hitting a bit of form. But I think Christmas has come early. That was the phrase I used in some of the chats. But at the same time, it's the same guys who put Thelwell in charge who'll be picking his replacement. So I think I'll be keeping the champagne on ice until I see who they actually bring in.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, ultimately, it's the right decision for the ownership, right? And they've shown a bit of leadership, I think, by making the decision. But for me, I mean, a few weeks ago, when somebody was asking me, our Rangers fans were saying, just like you've said, that they can't let Thelwell get the next window. And I was saying, well, but he will get the next window because when Danny Rohl was appointed, Andrew Kavanagh came out publicly and backed Patrick Stewart and Kevin Thelwell. And also, and you've touched on it, Kevin Thelwell's been allowed to build this empire round about him, in the shape of Dan Purdy, Nathan Fisher, his own son, Robbie Thelwell, which obviously didn't go down well. And even a matter of days ago, Rangers allowed him to go and appoint an academy director in John Hunter Barrett. All of these guys have got an association with Kevin Thelwell. So I suppose what I'm trying to say is that the ownership have come to the right decision, because personally I think, like you, certainly Thelwell's position was becoming untenable, and given the fact that Patrick Stewart cherry-picked Kevin Thelwell and also was big behind the appointment of Russell Martin, he probably had to go as well. But does this decision, as much as it's the right one, raise a lot of questions as well? I mean, why now? Why let Thelwell make these appointments? Is it right to change a sporting director? No, I think we're 37 days from the next transfer window opening. Are you surprised at the timing of it in that sense?
Yeah, because I felt the time to act was when Martin went, and if they were going to get rid of Thelwell, if they're going to bin him, then I think people expected that would be the time. And there was this feeling that Kavanagh had kind of sidelined him in the managerial. By the way, another kind of question all this is, had this happened 2 months ago, would Steven Gerrard be our manager right now? Or, that opens up that kind of can of worms. But I think what happens is Danny Rohl's come in. It's very, very hard to kind of evaluate Danny Rohl as a Rangers manager right now. I know we've won 4 league games under him, but the performances, the kind of underlying stats behind those performances suggest that we're not actually playing any better than we were under Russell Martin. But he's certainly, stiffened the team up. But I think Rohl's come in and he said to Kavanagh, look, this is an absolute bin fire. I'm not going to judge Rohl at all with these players because, Pep. I don't think Pep Guardiola could get a tune at this squad. No. It's unbalanced. It looks a bit unfit at times. It's just an absolute omni-shambles that he's kind of left us with. And I think Kavanagh's maybe, Rohl's obviously been in his ear. I think Saturday, and in many ways, Saturday was our worst performance of the season. Right? Again, 3 points, but it was as bad as anything we've seen. And I think, I think this has got Rohl, and I think he's said to Kavanagh, look, these are the players I need. These are the players that aren't good enough. And that list of players who aren't good enough is probably really long. And the list of players that he needs, or positions that he needs, is also probably really long. And Kavanagh's looked at it and went, well, we can't afford to let this guy, do what he's done in the summer. Yeah. What happens to all the people that he's brought in? I've absolutely no idea. I kind of understand, when people are under pressure, they tend to surround themselves with people they know. They surround themselves with people who they've worked with before. So I don't think it's a massive shock that a lot of these guys that have been brought in worked with him before. I think there's massive question marks over whether they were the best we could have got, though. I think that's the main question. I'm not surprised he's done it, but at the same time, are these guys really best in class? And that's what we need right now. I mean, it isn't just Celtic who are leaving us behind right now. Hearts are leaving us behind, and that kind of, in terms of going out there and getting bang for buck. Hibs are doing it to a certain extent. I think Hibs have probably went under the radar a bit this season, but all these teams, I think, right now are better than us, and that's really, really damning indictment of his summer, summer business.